The movie is set in a not far off distant future in 2057. Earth is treading on a dangerous course as the sun is slowly dying. This has resulted in a permanent solar winter with humanity on the verge of extinction. Scientists are working round the clock to counter this, and finally, a plan to fix it is hatched. They resort to employ nuclear reaction to rekindle the sun, and a bomb size of Manhattan Island is developed. Their first attempt to deploy it on board a spaceship named Icarus was a failure. The ship mysteriously went missing 6 months after deployment, prompting them to re-strategize. 7 years later, a second ship, Icarus II, sets out for the second stab. A crew of 8, shielded by an enormous shield from the harsh sun rays, take to the sky. The ship's pilot Cassie takes control of the ship alongside the ship's inbuilt AI called Icarus. Their journey has been smooth and the ship is fast approaching Mercury's orbit. Their systems are running perfectly, including their oxygen garden under botanist Corazon. On the other hand, the ship's doctor and psychologist, Searle, enjoys his alone time. He spends hours in the observation room, admiring the sun in close proximity. Their smooth journey, however, experiences a minor anticipated hiccup. Their communication with Earth is set to dwindle as they go further into a zone called the Dead Zone. Over dinner, prepared by the ship's navigator named Trey, the ship's captain brings this to their attention. He urges anyone willing to send a message back home to do so soon before the comms go off. The ship's physicist in charge of the bomb, named Kappa, jumps in to send his message. He explains to his family that their success will only take 8 minutes to be felt on Earth, and they will feel it. He, however, overstays, and the ship's engineer Mace is unable to send his message as the comms die, brewing a fight between the two. Mace is sent to the Earth room by Dr. Searle to calm his nerves. There, he experiences earthly moments which prove useful in this case. A joyful mood prevails when Cassie calls everyone out to check Mercury as they get closer. They all enjoy the moment as Mercury revolves around the sun in real time as they watch. Their moment is, however, cut short when a second announcement comes in. The ship's communication expert and second-in-command, Harvey, picked up a transmission. Surprisingly, Icarus I distress beacon, which is being amplified by Mercury's prevalent iron core. As everyone contemplates this strange signal, Mace strongly opposes any thoughts about it. His focus is on the success of the mission and terms Icarus I as a distraction in this case. Trey immediately traces the signal, and the team is surprised at how close Icarus I got to making it. It lies close to the sun, and their current trajectory would have them pass close by. With this information, Dr. Searle tables an idea to make a detour and commandeer Icarus I. This is to offer them 2 shots at the mission and raise their chance of success. He explains that success of the mission is just theoretical and 2 chances are better. Nevertheless, these are the last of the kind, as Earth has exhausted materials to make such massive bombs. Mace is still on the opposing side, as the detour is based on the assumption that Icarus I is still operable. His attempt to call for a vote is rejected, and the decision left to Kappa, since he understands the complexity of the detonation. He carefully analyzes the mission success probability after the detachment of the bomb from the ship. There are, however, way many variables to consider, and the accuracy diminishes as the bomb goes further on. He is only left speculating, but agrees with Searle on having 2 chances. The decision is immediately put into action, and Trey left to adjust their course as everyone goes to sleep. Their sleep is, however, cut short by an alarm prompting them to gather in response. A seemingly terrified Trey reveals he forgot to realign their shield after adjusting their trajectory. Though the AI managed to correct it, damage was caused and sensors destroyed. This makes it impossible for them to assess the damage from the inside. The captain, alongside Kappa, suits up and steps out for a manual inspection and repair. The ship is realigned to allow the captain and Kappa to repair 4 damaged panels on the shield. This comes at a cost, though, as they lose some of their comm towers to the scorching rays. The situation quickly escalates when the sun's rays are reflected towards their oxygen garden. The rays cause a fire that consumes the entire garden in minutes, much to Corazon's horror. Icarus immediately attempts to resume autopilot and save the crew, but Cassie holds back. She wants to hold a little longer for the captain to finish up before allowing Icarus to realign the ship. Mace, however, opposes this and is backed up by the captain to ensure the mission isn't jeopardized. Icarus is given the go-ahead to switch the ship to autopilot and the alignment kicks in. The captain and Kappa face death from the overwhelming rays as the shield turns toward the sun. In a moment of great power, the captain orders Kappa to head back inside while he finishes the repair. The team doesn't believe their eyes as the sun closes in on the captain shortly after completing the repair. The wise man fearlessly faces the sun unmoved and vaporizes, much to the horror of his team. Back inside, Trey is sedated after going wild for blaming himself for the mess. Meanwhile, Harvey ascends to power and immediately gives a state of the mission address. He sadly informs them that their mission can only be successful if they make it to Icarus 1. Their current oxygen reserves aren't sufficient to hold them to the sun, let alone their journey home. Following this, the team tracks down Icarus 1 and docks into a position ready for exploration. A team of 4 splits to check out key elements in the dead ship. Finally, it's a sigh of relief for them as Harvey notices the overgrown oxygen garden. Kappa ascertains the bomb to be in perfect condition. Searle also finds the crew members who seem to have burnt off in the observation room of unfiltered rays. Things take a dark turn when Mace announces the ship's system is dead, rendering it immobile. The system's coolants seem to have been sabotaged, resulting in overheating of the mainframe. Things get wilder when Mace plays a video recording of the ship's captain, Pinbacker, recorded years back. The captain questions the essence of their mission, claiming it's against God's wish to end humanity. They hardly decipher this message when a sudden shake ensues, and a panicked Cassie directs them to run for the exit airlock. The two ships have mysteriously decoupled, and Icarus 1's outer lock blown out, leaving them stranded. With only a single spacesuit available, Searle and Mace vote for Kappa to use it. He is of more help to the mission as he'll handle the final stage of the mission. This doesn't sit well with Harvey, who unlike his predecessor isn't ready to sacrifice himself. He stamps his authority at Kappa to get him off the suit to no avail, as he is suited up and ready for ejection. In this moment of despair, Mace figures out a solution for their plan. The plan is to hold on to Kappa as he is ejected, and make their way to Icarus 2 airlock. They will wrap themselves up in insulation materials to stay off the extremely freezing temperature in space. However, this comes with a downside since one of them ought to be left behind. The system is dead, and manual opening of the airlock is necessary. Searle makes the sacrifice, and the ejection is successful, but shortly goes south. Harvey stumbles on debris that throws him off track, and he freezes within seconds. As Icarus 2 leaves, Searle, who has been longing to visualize the sun's rays in full scope, heads over to the observation room. The cast shadow is gone, and he experiences his best moment before burning out. With 3 team members down, Corazon is sure that the remaining crew will have enough oxygen to make the delivery. However, this is only possible if they lose one more. Their focus shifts to Trey. He spends his time sedated and barely doing anything but breathing the limited oxygen. A majority vote proposes to have him eliminated, and Mace tasks himself with that. However, he barely does it as he finds Trey having done the job himself out of guilt. The tense situation eases, and everyone gets back to investigate the cause of the earlier accident. The log shows that the airlock decoupling was done manually, which leaves them confused. Kappa immediately engages Icarus about their oxygen supply and is surprised to learn they're still running short. Icarus identifies a new, unidentified crew member who accounts for a portion of the oxygen. Icarus locates the entity in the observation room, and Kappa swiftly heads there, but forgets to inform his team. True to Icarus' words, Kappa finds the observation room extremely lighted and struggles to see the entity. Suddenly, a disfigured man attacks him and injures him badly, prompting him to run for safety. He immediately identifies the man as Captain Pinbacker from Icarus 1. Surprisingly, the man turns out to have been alive all this time. He's here to push his mantra on the fate of humanity, revealing he was behind the decoupling. As Kappa nurses his wound, Pinbacker takes off for the operating system cooling. Just like he did on Icarus 1, he pulls out the systems off the coolant. They overheat and subsequently disable AI and ship's operations. With no comms, he stages an ambush on Corazon, impairing and immobilizing her. Mace catches note of the situation when lights go off and immediately rushes to the control center. He is shocked to find Icarus down and manages to get answers from Kappa after spotting him. Knowing Pinbacker is on board and his dark intentions, Mace heads straight for the coolant. He is forced to manually fix them with the system down, and the cold takes a toll on him. Though he manages to get the systems running, his leg is trapped and he passes away due to the extreme cold. Meanwhile, Pinbacker continues his hunt and trails Cassie, who makes a run for the bomb segment. Kappa is solely left to steer the mission to success and immediately embarks on detaching the bomb from the ship. He successfully does that and sets off the timer to activate the bomb's throttles to enter the sun. He abandons the ship and heads for the delivery payload to manually detonate the bomb. However, it's not easy for him as he comes under attack from Pinbacker. He is almost overwhelmed when Cassie shows up to his aid, which buys him some time. He proceeds with the procedure and successfully detonates the bomb. He blissfully watches their mission come to success and finally gets to live his dream. He stretches out his hand to touch the sun's surface with pride and joy. In the closing scene, Kappa's sister rewatches her brother's message with hope before picking up the kids. The following morning, they are amazed to watch the sun shining brilliantly, as Kappa described it. The scene closes at a now frozen Sydney Harbor with the sun shining hope in the future.